What if it's a coincidence that when I talk in real life I sound like this, but when I talk on the podcast, I'm always talking like this?
Can you raise my T?
Oh,
Can you
raise
enhance
my
that
T,
real
dude.
quick?
Yeah, can you level up my T on that board?
Just
crank the test.
The super chats just came in.
Super chat.
$100 super chat.
The super chats just came in. Here they are.
It is later than you think.
You gotta hit that boom, boom. It's the Mr. Bombastic.
Mr. Bombastic.
Our sound guy, our step in, actually, like, does he do it professionally?
He's a consultant to us right now.
Our consultant just left and said that. What did he say? He said
He
our
said
studio has a lot of boom.
Super boomy.
Super boomy, and we were like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
It means so much coming from you.
Yeah, it turns out it's not good. So there's some improvements that can be made, but in the meantime, it's Mr. Bombastic.
In the meantime, it's Cursed World, baby.
It's Curse World, and this episode we ask, is technology cursed? I think maybe.
I think no. I'm gonna say no.
I'll take the yes position then.
So we got a lot to get into.
You just want to get into it?
You just want to get into
Let's
it?
just get into it then.
I was going to ask, or I did ask, what do you feel like video games have had a poor overall impact on your life?
Overall?
Yeah. Like, do you think that they've been a detriment, or you think that they've been just like, yeah, this is a fun little thing that I did or that I've done?
Yeah, I think obviously any person answering this question, a young man, not that young, someone who was a young man that spent any significant amount of time playing video games is probably going to underplay it and have this bias that says like, oh yeah, I'm sure a little bit of problems, but probably negligent overall. So I don't know in truth, but that genuinely is my feeling toward it.
Negligible.
Yeah, what did I say? Negligent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you know. But I was just correcting you to show my prowess. My prowess.
Oh, you're doing it.
Dang it, I'm
My
doing it.
prowess, Mr. Bond. Mr.
Showing.
Mr.
Your prowess is
Bones.
speaking.
Your prowess, Mr. Bones. It's Bane. It's a Batman villain. It's a James Bond villain.
James Bond. Speaking of James Bond, Pierce Brosnan starred in
The Lawnmower Man.
The Lawnmower Man. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so The Lawnmower Man is our homework. Before the next episode, we have to watch The Lawnmower Man. I have been keeping this movie in my back pocket for more than 15 years. Since I've known of its existence, and I've really wanted to watch
it. Commercial somewhere?
No, my friend Ben.
15 years. It came out like the year you were born or something.
Yeah, so I only learned of it through Ben. I was in high school, and he was like, "You have to watch The Lawnmower Man. I have it on VHS. We can watch it in my mom's basement." And I don't think we followed through with that. He'll say we did, but I distinctly remember always wanting to and never getting around to it. So every once in a while, like literally separated by a couple of years each time, I'll remember The Lawnmower Man. I'll watch the trailer and go, I gotta watch that. Mm-hmm. But I don't. And so it's like a fine bottle of wine that's sitting in the cellar just waiting for the right day.
Yeah, I've never seen or heard anything about it, and then you showed me the trailer, and it was an instant, I gotta watch this.
Yeah.
It really, really strikes a special type of... we were talking about kind of like this period of time in... Maybe it spans bigger than this or whatever, but I'm picturing like mid-90s to mid-2000s, where like maybe 1995 to 2005, where the greater mass consciousness was
that's right.
Almost self-aware, becoming self-aware of the future being imminent, right? Like hover cars are soon, right? Not in the same type of way as like something from the 60s or 80s or something like that, where they're like, I don't know, but in a different kind of way where they almost, it started splashing into the stuff that was being put out as if we are in the future now. So like you picture, it's going to be really tough to put it into words and articulate it, but it's because it's all vibes. But picture like the Nintendo Wii came out in like 2005 or 6 or something like that. and all of the menus and all of the to the games and to the Wii Shop channel and to all the different little tiles and stuff like that all had like very futuristic, like spacey type vibes, like the sounds and the sound effects and the like just like echoey, resonant, ambient type stuff, and even the way that the Wii looked, super slick and glossy white with light blue emanating LED. Like it just looked like it was something from the future.
Yeah, I like the example earlier. You said like Windows. You said Windows Vista, but really Windows Millennium Edition.
Yeah,
because it was it was like a one-off. It was not even something that persisted as long as Windows Vista. I'm pretty sure. And when you look at that, it was the first one that I could be totally wrong about this. I'm not good with like the history of computers and the internet and stuff. But to my knowledge, to my recollection, it was the first one that had like a digital assistant, and it actually had a little guy or girl, and you could make them dance and stuff. I don't know when that paperclip came around, and that's more of like a cartoony type of thing. But even still, I thought that they were pretty smug. They were pretty happy with themselves, pretty self-satisfied to be like,
let's show you what we can do.
Exactly. This is the future. You have a little paperclip that can talk to you. It was the precursor to actual viable AI. You could ask that thing questions.
Yeah. Well,
they might have been multiple choice.
It was more so it picked up. Well, the paperclip specifically was like when you were in like Microsoft Word, and it was like, I can tell you're writing. There was a meme that was like, I see you're writing a suicide note. Is there any way I can assist you?
Yeah, or a ransom letter or something
whatever.
like that. Yeah,
but that was like to help you write like a resume or whatever. It like picked up on like kind of what you were doing, but even more so, like it was like an age of like right now to us in 2024, it's super retro. It's super old and nostalgic and all of that kind of stuff. It's antique. And yet in the time they were like forecasting, like they were like, let's take on the future now because it's within our grasp. And it showed in everything, in like, I don't know, you just picture like just the whole time period is really, really special. And this is what one of the things that I get my rocks off to is nostalgia content. Not like, 90s kids necessarily, a little bit, but there's a lot of that's you're really kind of like takes one time seeing like Rugrats and you haven't seen it in 20 years or something like that, and then you're kind of like, it's overdone. You get it. Like everybody's that type of content farming or whatever is already played out. However, something that has yet to really like, it's still hard to find is like a picture, like a perfect example of something that really always gets me going. Videos of people waiting outside for like a midnight release of Halo 1 or something like that, or the original Xbox. Like people were going insane about these things, and like News 7 channel 7 News would be down at the local Best Buy and like interviewing nerds, quote unquote nerds, but they weren't even like that bad. Like they were just like normal dudes, and some of them had glasses and bowl cuts, and some of them were like football jocks and stuff like that.
Football hunks, muscle hunks, a real muscle hunk.
Exactly. But they were all there for the love of like it was cool that the Xbox was coming out, and it was like a really special freaking thing. Or
I just gotta say,
360 or whatever.
I just gotta say, don't get me started on muscle hunks, because they definitely don't make them like they used to.
And they definitely don't get me.
And they don't get me feeling any type of way, because you know how I am.
Straight as they come.
I'm as straight as they
come.
I'm as
straight as they come.
As straight as they get.
So
as straight as they come. So I like where you're going with this, because I think the more that I think about it, the more you're talking, I'm like, what is it about these videos? And
it's pure. It's more pure than right now.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, go for it.
That's what I was gonna say. I said that.
Shutting up.
Cringe.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Listen though, for real,
Louise.
it's not just pure. The word I was gonna go for was innocent, because there is an innocence that is necessarily going to be lost in time.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
It's like
Hindsight is 20/20. It's not just us though. What I'm saying is the world.
Culture.
The world has grown up, and that's how everything is. So when we ask the question about technology, is technology cursed? Super normie answer, super cliched answer. It's not evil in and of itself. It's what man does with it. I'm going to go a step beyond that because you've heard that a trillion times.
It doesn't negate it though.
It doesn't negate
Everybody
it. It's
can kind
true.
of arrive at that.
It's-
I think that's a true take.
It's true enough, but it literally doesn't bear repeating. We're all on the same page there. We all know that in and of itself.
No, though.
Okay,
No.
let's
We're
just
not
say
all
for
on
the
same
sake of
page.
argument that you do agree with me and that you apologize.
I'll let you talk, but we're not all on the same page because there's people. The discussion is happening now about AI. Some people are
All right,
saying
okay.
it is demonic, it is evil, and then some people are like, "No, bro, it's just technology."
That's a
like,
good point.
Just the fact that the culture that wields the power of it is whatever means that it's currently acting
Okay.
as whatever.
Then
but
maybe
it doesn't necessitate.
I live in a
evil.
little.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
I live
already
in
won the argument.
a echo chamber. Did you say you already won the argument? We can go. We can rewind.
What's that?
So I think that's a point that we should cover about, like you said, whether it's evil or not, because maybe people need to hear that. But my greater point is there's a life cycle culturally for each new set of technologies. Each new iteration of a thing that hits the scene has this arc that really does start in purity and innocence. And then we kind of get overindulgent with it, for one. And number two, it always gets twisted towards man's sinful passions. It always gets corrupted to the technology ends up using us. Another big cliche, but it's true. We become, how many times do you have to hear it that it's like, these things, I think that they're, there are slave drivers and we're more connected to this and addicted to our phones than whatever. I'm not saying that's lame because you might have heard it on network news or whatever, or somebody released a study that this and that. I'm not.
Or Pastor John's
Or
sermon or
Pastor
whatever.
John's sermon about being addicted to your phones. All of that is true, and it's a serious thing. Where am I going with this? Basically, I think what you're touching on is that you long for the days when the Xbox just came out, because people were genuinely marveling at something that's fun and enjoyment and that type of camaraderie that comes with playing the new game. There is a good and pure thing in that. And then we get to the point now where the PS5 graphics are indistinguishable from, they're not indistinguishable, but they're getting indistinguishable from reality. And then it's hard to articulate why and how, but something has been lost. And so there's this particular time when the future was beginning to arrive in the late 90s and early 2000s, and it was exciting, and we were all looking forward to, or not looking forward to, maybe we were dreading and panicking about Y2K or whatever. And then, I don't know.
But even after that, it's like, it was starting and having like things were definitely going that direction, but even further into the 2000s, like you get to like 2000 and I don't remember when all of the like Star Wars movies came out or whatever, but there was another very what's poignant?
Oh, we talked about this. Poignant does not just mean super relevant or a strong point. Poignant means that it evokes strong emotions.
So if we're running with that, it was both of those. It was poignant, but it was relevant and evoking all of this. A very poignant. I'm gonna start using that, poignant.
Yeah, let's say it
No.
all the time.
But
Word of the
a
day.
freaking fantastic video that is all of this is people waiting. Actually, I think it was at the movie theaters right after people's first viewing of the first Star Wars movie to come out since
Phantom
the 70s
Menace
or whatever.
Episode 1.
The Phantom Mask, yeah.
The Phantom
The
Menace. Yeah, the Haunted Mask. By
Jim Carrey.
the author
Smokin'!
Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien read the Haunted Mask.
Tolkien,
A
Rolkin,
whole
Rolkin,
he read the
Tolkien.
whole Goosebumps series. A lot of people don't know that. They just focus
Exactly.
on the Haunted Mask.
So you get to the Phantom Mask, and these people are coming out of the movie theaters dressed up as Darth Vader, and they're talking and they're getting interviewed by the news, and they're like, "What was your favorite part?" And they were like, "Oh, dude, when Qui-Gon Jinn jumped over that Dark Maul and sliced him, it's like one of the best videos ever because first of all, there's blacks and whites like hanging out together, and like it was like peak relations between everybody. Everyone, it's just like a normal city person. It's New York. We're here. We're in New York.
He's
and we're
black.
having fun. He's black. I'm white.
I'm
Italian.
Irish. I don't like them generally, but right now I think I'm starting to come around. I think race relations are
They're
at an
just,
all-time
fun,
high.
right? But everyone's just chilling and hanging out and slipping and sliding around, right?
Yeah.
No, but for real, everyone's getting along and everyone's there for a common purpose and stuff like that, and you just get this sense of like true innocence and purity. I know it's easy to romanticize and things weren't that good because you got the freaking whatever. It's I get that you can over romanticize it, but that doesn't also necessarily mean that it wasn't better. Like that people didn't get along and things weren't more pure and more innocent than they are now. But we talked about this last maybe over the summer or something like that, but it was really important to talk. Our talk was really important because it was like we likened it. I likened it to, it's like the 90s, early 2000s. It's like people were like technology and Americana and like what the culture was almost like it's decadent, but it hadn't gone too far yet. Like there was still some like reasonable like politics and ideas and ideals and like cultural fabric was a little bit tighter and stuff like that. And it's almost like that was the peak because it was very similar to, that's what I was going to say. We likened it to your first sip of alcohol for a night, right? You go out, you're kind of things are fun or whatever. You take a shot or whatever, and you hit that first high. You hit that first little buzz. You're feeling fantastic.
Yep.
That's what it was. That's what it was culturally at that time.
What time
Technology
again?
was
Can you remind me
booming.
when you're
Like 1995
okay?
to 2000, right? Somewhere in there. Maybe just the 90s. You could just say the 90s, I guess. Whatever. But it's almost like it had peaked because we were just starting to get really, really cool technology. It wasn't like, yeah, sure, arcade games were cool, but this is better than that. This is like home entertainment systems, and this is like surround sound, and this is like sitting on your keister, got the television remote in your hand, 2 chili dogs and a 6-pack of beer, right? You've got all of that. But it's almost like as people, everybody was out and jamming and stuff like that and having fun. And you look back at all those nostalgic videos and it makes you feel something. But then you keep going. It's like culture kept going and didn't stop drinking. And then you get like the buzz wears away or you're trying to chase the buzz, right? And once you start trying to chase the buzz, your blood alcohol limit or content is going way up to try to keep like a little bit of the feeling because otherwise you just kind of crash.
Yeah.
And now we're crashing.
So
Like we're way past the point, or we're getting to a point where we're gonna like pass out and start vomiting, but we're stumbling around right now.
Yeah, let me pick up the ball here. Let me pick up the metaphor because it's like, what does the having 1 or 2 or 3 too many part of the metaphor, the analogy, like what is its analog? What is it in real life? And when I think about that question, I think that the critical thing is when the machine that produces the technology and produces the media became aware of its effect, it takes the innocence away.
Yeah.
And then when people recognize it and when it becomes cheapened. So
It's
hear me
like-
out here.
It's like commercials doing memes, and then the memes lose their
Exactly.
flavor.
That's a perfect analogy. It's the thing when you have like a 4-year-old that says something wrong and everyone in the room laughs because they mispronounced a word or they used the wrong word. And then the 4-year-old notices, so they start playing it up and doing a little song and dance. Or another one is that SpongeBob episode where I think he got a laugh because he did something with like a mop at the Krusty Krab. And then he decided to make a whole show
you're
out of
talking
it.
about ripped his pants.
Ripped his pants. I'm conflating 2 episodes. Thank
When
you for
Big
always
Larry
keeping
came
me.
around to put him down, SpongeBob turned into a clown.
Turn into a clown. That's right.
Yeah.
Then what happened next?
I can't remember.
Yeah. So SpongeBob turned into a clown.
He ripped his pants. Everyone laughed, but he kept doing it over and over and over.
Right.
People got sick of it.
But in the real world, people don't get sick of it. They go, "Oh yes, oh another the Eternals is going to be really." It's kind of like the Avengers, except for that it's the multiverse.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's one aspect. I'm talking about multiple things here. Maybe I shouldn't get so specific. But speaking generally, once the entire ecosystem of technology and media and culture starts to recognize, oh, that worked. That really pushed the button. So then they make that button bigger, and they make different colors of that button to push. All of us as a society, we can always point the finger at the media companies, at the tech companies, whatever, but we're the ones buying it.
Feeding that dog.
And isn't it special that we feel empty? We might have felt full and had stars in our eyes.
But it doesn't take away from the fact that you're still addicted. You're
Right.
you're still playing into it, and
Let me finish it. Let me finish this point. When you are a child, that whenever I do something that I regret, I always look at people and go, to let them know that I don't agree with that.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So what I was going to say is, let's put yourself at age. Doing it. You're doing it right now.
Doing what? Go ahead.
Nothing. Yeah. So when you're 6 or 7 years old and your dad brings home a blockbuster movie and you're like, or just go Google the ads for the Sega Genesis and what the kids' faces are doing. That's what's happening to your brain because there's a scarcity to it, and then the media itself is still representative of a cultural innocence. And not a full innocence. It's true that there's always been pornog and there's always been violence and cussing and all that, and we can look at the past with rose-colored glasses. That's true. Now let's put that aside. It's also true that in another way there was a real innocence that was still there and hadn't been totally corrupted. So that feeling you got when you got the blockbuster, or you go out with your dad and you pick a movie, it's an amalgamation of the media itself and the difference between that and something you'd see released today, and it's also the scarcity aspect that I'm talking about. And then compare that to how you feel when you are clicking through endless titles on Netflix for like 8 minutes, and then you go, none of this is going to push the button. So you switch over to HBO Max and you click and you go, none of that's going to push the button. So you get on your phone and you Google, I want something that makes me feel nostalgic, but it's also got like an existential tint to it. And are there any movies that you can recommend? Reddit, I'm going to ask you, are there movies that really make you feel the same way that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind made you feel? There's nothing wrong with that pursuit, but know that you are hitting the bottom of the barrel. And this is going to go into a whole other episode if I'm not careful. But that thing that you're after, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be ashamed. But what you have to recognize is more and better and sleeker and more powerful technology and more, to reuse the word, poignant media. You're never going to be able to feed that dragon sustainably. I'm mixing metaphors. You'll always be chasing that dragon.
Yeah.
But that monster gets bigger, that flame gets hotter, and so it destroys more and it takes more to fuel it, etc. And I think that we've cleared that hump. And this isn't to be all black-pilled gloom and doom about the future, but it's important to know that technology has become, through our constant sharpening and honing of it, and the media and technology entities that exist out there have figured out a scientific way to hijack your brain to keep you watching for longer. And now it's monetized. Your attention is monetized to the point where you are now the animal in the trap. You need to escape. You need to do everything you can to escape.
Which brings us to social media.
Are we transitioning?
Specifically, yeah, I guess, but it just hits all of the exact same things you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But instead of Sega Genesis, instead of Blockbuster, okay, so how about this? Instead of just scrolling Netflix, it's scrolling Instagram Reels, right? And one of the things that turns me off is whenever you pick up on the idea or the fact, or you like almost. Your brain allows you to imagine, oh, this person is a person standing in front of a camera with a freaking ring light and like purposely setting and staging things so that they can look like they're just freaking like trad wife stuff and like people doing workout stuff and people like everybody just loves attention, man. They just
Yeah.
can't get enough of the attention. And we're one of them, right? We're trying to get eyes and ears on us right now, but it's different. Okay?
Yeah, it's different. It's different with us.
It's different.
It's different with us.
It's different
It's
with
different
us.
with us.
It's
Look at the
different
camera.
with
It's
us.
different with
It's
us.
different with
It's
us.
different with us.
But you look at that and I can be pacified by that stuff and not really think about all of the stuff that's going into it, because some of it's genuine. Some people are just comedians and they're freaking funny and they have a phone and like they're making their genius known, and it's good because they're sharing that with the world. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of them are actually educating. If there's like some mom educating people about like how to detox their kids from heavy metals and stuff, like that's cool because they're actually doing the world a service. But there's so much there that you can just get stuck on and just scroll forever, and it's all freaking fractal, and it is playing itself out on the big level and the small level and everywhere in between. And in your brain, the little microcosm of everything is that you're getting the dopamine, and it's like what's it called whenever you get less and less? Diminishing returns as you continue to scroll, and it becomes anxiety inducing and all this kind of stuff. The same thing is happening in culture in general with the amount of social media and the ability, and how, like you were saying earlier, it can be organic to some extent, but as soon as they start picking up on it, whoever they are, start picking up on it, then it becomes a formula and a monetized thing, and you do it this way to get this many eyes, and it becomes like a freaking cookie cutter churning out stuff. And then you get all the people in China where you see like them doing a pan of the warehouse full of 400 ladies with their own little cubicles in front of a phone doing like their little thing, and they're farming social media content and getting likes and screen points and all of that kind of stuff. And it's generating income for someone. And it's cool if people are starting, if it's a single person doing it, that's awesome. But there's obviously the negative. So the negative is all of the sorry suckers that are just in the trap. But the positive is that anyone can pick up the piece of technology that we have and share freaking good wisdom. You know what I mean? Like there's Father Spiridon, and there's that dude. I've never watched him, but he always pops up on my algorithm for whatever, like as recommendations. But there's some like, I don't know his name, but he's some like cowboy or something like that, sits in front of a fire, and he's probably 60. He's probably in his 70s, early 70s or something. He's very wise, and he just sits there and maybe smokes a pipe or something, and he just talks.
Does he
about
say
the
stuff
world.
like,
He just talks about the
yes,
world.
folks, they are that dumb?
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that, but I'm sure it is good. I've never watched it.
Okay.
But it's the type of thing that I'm sure he has actual wisdom. He's talking about this world's gone to hell in a handbasket. We've got blue-haired
Yeah.
But that stuff is like, it's a good thing that can be out there. But here's where I'm going to get into my argument. I think that the technology, while yes, it could have been brought forth via demonic influence, the tool itself, I don't think has it has power for good, power for evil. So people can use it obviously to spread the gospel and to like tell more people about orthodoxy or about anything, really whatever. Like I said, wisdom from the ages, and people can have a better life because whatever. It's just the fact that people are stupid, and also really it's really freaking difficult to try really hard for yourself. I was watching John Doyle the other day. He made an excellent point that it's not necessarily about you can't just expect to win the culture by producing content alongside the other content and try to beat it. Like, oh, my ideas are better and they'll win in the marketplace of ideas. It's not going to work, because what they have is everybody's carnal drives, right? They have sex and drugs and sin and things that call out to people that get them to slip up or whatever. If you're trying to make win the culture by making equal content or whatever, it's like you're just never going to win, because people are you
Dude,
can't trust yourself, right?
So funny.
But he said that's why not only is the goal to make good content that not conservative movies, but movies that happen to be directed and written by conservatives,
Yeah.
or he was talking about politics, but you could replace the word conservative with Christian or whatever. You don't just want to have angel eyes media or whatever that just has like kind of crappy Christian themed content, or Hallmark or whatever the Christian Hallmark. What you want is to get rid of the degenerate stuff. You want to actually put a ban on stuff that people like have trouble with. It's like saying, all right, yeah, everybody can do, like, it's like saying heroin's A-okay as far as legality, and then you get like it put in food and stuff, and the people who don't know no better are like just sorry suckers, and they get trapped, right?
Yeah.
And then it says something that even the people who are trying really hard, the people who are doing a good job and disciplining themselves and like walking the walk and really desperately trying to cling to goodness, still slip up.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, so you're kind of like breaching into political philosophy here and what's acceptable and whether a person's core values are more libertarian coded, as the internet folks would say. Everything's something
We're
coded.
all post-libertarian here.
Yeah, we're all post-libertarian coded. You did it. That was it. That was a good example, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
No, I just did. Whenever I don't get your jokes, I just go, just kidding. I get it.
Cringe. All right, that's like number 4, which I don't care. 4 strikes, I don't care. I'm literally still in the game.
I'm going to start taking over by myself.
No, it's
I'm
good.
going to start recording by myself.
We have a disagreement. I think that bad content is in fact good, and you are saying the opposite, which I don't understand.
But social media gets its hooks and claws into you. So it's problematic because they make it so addictive that normal good people or whatever, and it just so happens that the algorithms are geared toward getting you torqued.
Yeah, getting you
absolutely torqued.
Getting
your
broined.
Nuts quinking.
Yeah.
Twink little nuts.
That's the word.
Quaking.
No, I totally get that. So, and it's an apt connection that you're making because the studies have shown, not to get too big brain Bill Nye Science brained on you.
He's a genius. Go ahead.
He's
Just
no
had to
Neil
say that.
deGrasse.
He's a
He's no
genius.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think
All
we
right.
can both
of
agree to
those are
that.
genius. We should get them on a panel together.
Oh,
We should just, all right, let's take all
I
the
don't even know
scientific
if-
decision making and give it to them.
yeah.
Outsource to
Yeah,
the
if I heard
geniuses.
a conversation between Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse
I wouldn't
Tyson,
be able to freaking understand.
I'd be like-
I would maybe might get one
yeah,
word. of
I'd
what
be
they're
like,
saying.
who's he? What's he? What? You said quantum? What,
This
dude?
is I'm getting all mixed up.
I'm getting all mixed up because you're talking about electrons, and I'm just like, what's for dinner?
I'd have to put an ice pack on my head because I'd be overheating.
Yeah, I'd have to put
and
an ice
steaming
pack
from
on
the
my
ears.
nuts just from listening to these two just blah blah blah. So anyway, it's an apt connection that you're making here, comparison, because heroin, what it does to the body, what it does to the brain, is really simulating something that the body and the brain already do for biological purposes. You're supposed to feel really good with certain stuff, but when you cheat code that, then it ruins your life, and it also makes you a slave. If already man is due to the corruption from the sin of Adam, he's already at risk, at extreme risk. It's almost inevitable that he is going to fall prey to his passions, becoming his slave master. And so he will be owned and controlled by his stomach, by his danger, by his what have you. If that's already the case, and then you do this cheat code and you mainline those chemicals straight to the dome from drugs, then that's really bad. So that's why heroin is illegal. We haven't gone that far off the rails. Full disclosure, yeah, I used to peddle that libertarian stuff where it's like, as long as everyone can consent, then eventually the consequences themselves will make a self-policing society, and we'll all determine that that's bad, and we don't need the government to help us with that. I think that's flawed for a number of reasons that I'm not even going to get into. So going back to like a discussion we had with, or that I had with Dad like 10 years ago, I can finally say he was right. I was a goof office. But here's the main point. If we can say heroin illegal because it's such an unnatural detriment to society, and we can legislate morality in that way because it is moral and good to protect life and stop people from becoming enslaved to the point of their own premature death. Let's do it. But we haven't figured out we haven't figured out how closely connected that same mechanism of mind control and body control and life control is exerted upon the populace by media. People talk about it generically. I'm so addicted to my phone, or even there's a Netflix documentary about how they've engineered these things to keep you watching or to keep you clicking or whatever. But most of all, it's still like, well, it's just a phone, put it down. And at the end of the day, that's going to be part of our advice today is, yeah, you are responsible ultimately for mastering yourself, for recognizing that your brain is just as powerful as your stomach in terms of having that proclivity toward becoming your slave driver and telling you where to go and telling you how to spend your time and energy.
I mean, there's obviously tried and true. You can, like you said, just put it down. Like today, which I just did it today, right? I did. I struggled a lot today with just putting the freaking phone down, just scrolling Instagram. I had a lot of free time by accident, and then I could have done something very productive or whatever, gone to the gym earlier or sooner or whatever. But instead, I sat in the car for an hour and just I told myself, I gotta stop, right? I gotta stop this.
I have to stop
this.
right
And then I put it
now.
down and drive to the next place. Before I walk into the gym, I tell myself, are you really going to get right back into that same old cycle again? You shouldn't. After you just told yourself to stop. And what did I do? I picked up my phone and went straight to Instagram and kept going. So even geniuses like me, even 400 IQ geniuses who take care of themselves and have discipline like me, get caught in the freaking traps that are laid for you. Because they do just want your eyes. But, like, it also does something to your brain. I was like, less able to focus on my workout afterward because I scattered my freaking... I had a radar jammer, like Call of Duty. Somebody put enemy UAV inbound.
Yeah.
I don't actually... I think that either jams your radar or it makes your...
UAV inbound is going to...
No, that's what it does. You get to see where your opponents are on the map. Anyway, whatever. Radar jammer.
Is that right?
That's what it does.
I thought it just means you're about to get drone struck.
I don't think so. I think it shows.
An enemy UAV.
It shows you on your radar for like 30 seconds. If it's
Unmanned
like
aerial
deathmatch.
vehicle inbound. I just thought that would mean that you're about to be blasted.
I don't know if it's UAV. It's just what the syllables sound like to me whenever you're playing the game. I don't know what it actually says.
UAP.
Dude. AAV, AV.
AFV, America's Funniest Home Videos. Remember the ska music to the beginning of that? Right.
Yeah. I just thought about that being ska last night because we watched it for my 4-year-old. He thought
Beautiful.
it was hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
Anyway, doing that stuff just scatters your brain, scatters your thoughts, makes you less potent, makes you less able to like get stuff done. It distracts you and leaves you distracted. It's not just during.
You know what I
for
think
the
it
rest
is?
Of the day. There's like this whole input-output thing that you have to like
That's it.
monitor.
We've talked about this. You've seen this. You've heard about this. My theory, and I'm about to go into a monologue, so I'm gonna spend. Can I spend my monologue bucks?
Monologue bucks? Oh,
All right.
man. Don't make me tap the
Okay,
sign.
I have to give you.
We should get a sign right here.
No
Don't make me
monologues.
tap the sign.
Yeah. Take my monologue token, and now I am licensed.
Somebody just super chatted this in.
Yeah, that's so awesome. That's our third one. That's our third $100 super chat. So keep those coming,
we've
guys.
Made a couple super chats. Keep those coming.
Big mood. All right. Monologue is as follows. When you said input output, I think that's because I brought this up a couple weeks ago. I could be wrong. But my take on the whole like economy of attention and the problem that comes with it.
That's interesting.
I think the main problem that comes from all this is the reason why we can't focus, the reason why it's ADHD world, the reason why we're drained and we don't get as much done as we want, we can't seem to focus, etc., is because I think that we have a natural input mode and output mode, and you can kind of only be in one or another. And what's worse is we think that we can, on a dime, change from input to output, flip that switch. And instead, I think that our brains and our every level of our consciousness, which there's so many, and it's so deep. We're talking about the human heart here, the thing that contends with thoughts and philosophies and ideas and feelings and all that stuff is of untold depths and dark depths too. And so whenever should it be any surprise that if we spend hours a day just inputting media, stimulus, but not just that, it's
giving you stuff to process.
It's giving you stuff to process. It's telling you stories.
Like, yes, it happens instantly.
Yeah, but it's telling you stories and giving you ideas, things that you have to determine whether you agree with them or disagree with them, or things to like play out in your head, or play a little drama. What if that were me? Or what does this mean for the world, or my place in the world,
There's
etc.
only so much of that you could have ever possibly gotten before these things existed.
Yeah.
There's only so
the
much
human
of that
brain, I don't
you
think
could
is
possibly take in on any given day of like drama,
right,
or what have you not.
But more than that, it's not just that you were getting too much input. It's that the time that it takes for processing, which I think is probably necessary between input and output, is this long, but we don't leave that much time for ourselves in the day. So let's say that you scroll stuff and then you get straight to work, which is what we do. We're like, I looked at my phone for a while. That was my break. Now I need to work. So you turn your attention to that. It's still there. It's unprocessed. Number one, your efficiency and your focus for being able to deal with new information already not that good. But then when you're done, you're like, boy, I'm beat. And I had to drive home and listen to that podcast and stick more in there. And you get home, you're like, well, I just want to relax and watch TV. Click it on. And then when we go to sleep,
same type of stuff going.
and then you probably go to sleep in all likelihood and just dream it all out, or you converse with people to talk about, 1/100th of the things that you saw on TV or on your phone or whatever. And so you have this massive backlog of stuff that you've never properly dealt with. So why should we expect to be able to produce anything of value, to be able to actually emanate? Because if we're, and this is where this is the big payoff here. It might seem like I'm skipping steps, but I'm sure you can, build that chain between the two ideas on your own. You can read between the lines.
Now, dude, what are you talking
Listen,
about?
I'm getting a little.
Don't make me
I'm
tap
showing
the
a little
side.
bit of my autism here. Essentially, if we are ultimately called to become more like Christ and become more like God, and for God to allow and submit God to make us more in His likeness. We're already in His image. We need to become in His likeness. And much of His likeness, a major part of it, is that emanating, it flows out. He radiates. He's radiant with goodness, gentleness, patience, peace, kindness, self-control. All of those emanate from Him. Also, He's creative. He creates things. And He gave it to Adam to govern nature and to name the animals and such, and to go and bear much fruit, to proliferate. If we are, part of our destiny to become like God is to radiate and emanate things and have an output for good, how can we ever expect to do that when we're still crippled by the 10-ton weight of all the things that we've input? We've become this sponge that just keeps sucking up more and more stuff. Or more aptly, if we're supposed to be a radiant star eventually by way of deification, by way of theosis, and we already have the moral stuff to battle and we already have the passions to battle, but we keep inflaming the passions by what we see, and we cripple our ability to have any output at all, then we become less like a radiant star, which we're called to be, and more like a black hole. So is it any surprise that we feel like a black hole?
And ever
That's
eating, never being satisfied.
That's it. The stomach continues. I know we already had our episode about food, but
one of the first times I ever blew my mind, my buddy, who's maybe a couple years further down the pipeline of orthodoxy than myself, but the guy that I credit with kind of like bringing me in or being my first impression and being a great first impression. He was talking about, he's like, man, I've been struggling with gluttony and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I get you. Except I was thinking he was talking about food, but he was talking about all the media he consumes. He's a glutton for media, and it's like too much. Like, and that it occurred to me, gluttony you can apply to anything. It's like an over desire for more
Yeah,
input.
that's what I mean
You
by
can
when.
be I mean, I guess there's other word. It's not a glutton for sex is not the same as lust. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's not, but let me just say that it's
and
like
a glutton for it's like people like you might think that you're conflating things, but I think gluttony is like a special type of thing that can apply to all these
Yes.
other areas, but it doesn't equate to like lustful eyes for women or something like that. If you're just like an over appetite and you just always want to satisfy that thing, whether it's food or sex or visual stimuli
it's
or
the
whatever,
stomach, right?
it's the stomach.
That's what I think you're trying to say is that if somebody says that if I don't remember what the scripture is, Kevin, if you're able to, their gods are their stomach.
Yeah.
It can. I don't think that it primarily means this society of people eat too much, but the stomach represents more than a desire for food or even for too much food. It's a desire for too much. It's just a
Satiation.
too much of a desire. It's an inflamed desire is what the stomach represents. So
Which
instead of
is-
saying gluttony, I think the stomach really is all encompassing.
But it brings ever into awareness and makes it make sense and like connects all the dots that denying yourself satisfaction in this way is one of our chief weapons against spiritual forces. Denying your stomach is like the means by which we battle. But that all like it's all of those things. It's the gluttony in general, but your stomach is like one of the most prevalent ones that you think about, like fasting from this, that, and the other. But you think of the monastics, and they do a lot more than that. They not only do the food, and they might have just a crust of bread and some water every day or something like that, but they also sleep sitting up or on a hard plank floor, or don't sleep at all, or it's creature comforts. It's things that satisfy you. It's things that bring you satisfaction. Those are the things that you can deny yourself for the sake of Christ, to wage war on the things that want you to just please yourself, that want to make your God something other than the God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like hedonism is a thing that we recognize. A person who is unabashedly hedonistic. They love pleasure and they try to pleasure max on it, right? And then we know about great ascetics and monks, and we go, they're the opposite. And I think really what matters is that we don't presume to be more to the ascetic side. If we all self-accuse or we all just assume at all times that hedonism is crouching at our door. That sin is crouching at our door, but mostly it's our own stomach, our own propensity for becoming gluttons or becoming addicts, media addicts, food, etc. That's the thing. Knowing that it's crouching at the door is what's going to cause us to say to ourselves, yeah, I could stand to abstain a little bit more from this, at least for a season.
Verse from earlier.
Yeah, I'll take a look. So it's the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 19. Their end is their destruction, their God is their belly, and they glory
Hold it down.
in their shame,
There you go.
with minds set on earthly things. They glory in their shame. So the person who glories in this, I think that we should resist the impulse to be like, at least I'm not that guy. He eats hamburgers on YouTube to make people disgusted at him or to laugh at him. That guy is a total glutton. First of all,
Self-accuse.
It's self-accuse. It's good practice to say, what does he have that I don't have? How is he better than me? That's a good place to start. But secondly, we should never get too comfortable with how ordinary or how middle of the road that we think that we are. Does that check out?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think the thing with social media specifically, I believe that it is probably a net negative, yet certain amount of it is being salvaged and truly wielded for good. And it's encouraging. Again, really kind of is every man for himself out there. It really kind of is the Wild West out there in the world, and you can only trust yourself to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And because of that, the types of people who are not taking care of themselves wouldn't be taking care of themselves in one way or another, whether we had constant input, whether it's from Netflix or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, or whether we didn't have those things, right? They would be struggling with something else. Now, that's not necessarily all, pervasive or whatever, because I'm sure more people are, if you think, especially kids, that's the honest shame. That's the thing that makes your freaking heart drop into your stomach and makes you feel awful is when you zoom out a little bit and just kind of feel the weight, the burden of how many children are just cast to the wolves when it comes to instant gratification and constant input and media of all different types, because it takes a heck of a lot to monitor all of that. And unless you're going to go TV free, or unless you're going to go technology free and be a little bit of a Luddite, then it's going to be difficult it's expert mode to like keep your kids away from stuff sometimes.
Maybe that is what it takes, though.
For all of the average people that are not up for the expert mode challenge, that's a whole generation and successive generations of busted people. Not irredeemable, but in a whole different way than what we've ever seen before. People with different brain chemistry.
Yeah, I would get scared. I would say get scared. I would say
we're telling you.
I would say
scared.
don't. Yeah, no, I'm for real. Don't assume. I had a conversation with some friends a few years ago. I wasn't saying honest here. I wasn't pointing any fingers at all. I was talking about my opinions about media and its ability to not just corrupt minds and put pornog in their heads and stuff like that, or Skittles stuff or anything like that, but really just like you said, burning them out, burning their circuits out so they're falling asleep doing this. That's real, by the way. I hope no one ever has to see that. Or maybe if they do see it and it keeps them from doing that. But the point is, I was saying this type of stuff in front of a mother of a few young kids, and she started like crying and stuff and not talking to me. And then later I had to find out, like, did I say something to offend her? And really it was that she couldn't handle that I was suggesting that her kids that might not turn out to be just default level normal, and that it was her responsibility.
The thing is, bro.
I'm
not
saying
everything's just going to work out.
Be scared,
for you.
yeah. Oh, well, all my,
everything will work out fine.
10 of my other wine mom friends do the same thing with their kids. So what are you saying? All 11 of them are going to end up with severe problems? Well, yeah, because they're the first generation to go through this, to have the little tablet in their hand. So, yeah, be scared. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to panic. That's kind of the heart of repentance that is the Orthodox way, is to say, you're not going to lose anything by fear and trembling for your salvation, for the salvation of your kids. I don't necessarily only mean your eternal destination in the eschaton. I mean your salvation in this life. Fear and trembling and constant repentance, painful repentance, pain of heart, the shedding of your own blood, if that's what it takes to get free, as the animal in the trap, as the one who owes to the one who is owed a great debt. Get free from it. This is all through the scriptures and all through the wisdom of the fathers. Like, you have to fight tooth and nail, if not for yourself, for your children's salvation, right?
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I think it's a net negative, and yet there's a case to be made for as many people as are willing to take up arms, be boots on the ground, and be an army for good on social media. Be the account that is there. You can motivate yourself so freaking hard by following all the right accounts and getting your algorithm to such a primo point, right?
Real.
Where your every reel that you get is people. You got other stuff to worry about. People talk about unrealistic physiques and stuff like that. Yada yada yada. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Shut up and stop whining and get to the gym, right?
Yeah.
But that putting that aside, you can go through and tailor, if you have the mind for it, tailor your media intake to be exclusively stuff that makes you a better person, right? And it should be done. And the people who are creators, the people who have a knack for video or for audio or for Instagram or whatever, editing, use your powers for good, because the eyes are there. You very well may save someone.
Dude, this is
right?
so awesome.
You can pull somebody out of that, and it's like, you might as well be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have the balls for it, get out on the battlefield and like start pulling people from the fire as best as you can, and hopefully you're not going to come out unscathed, because you're in the world still. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The people who take themselves out of the world, they're fighting a whole different battle.
Yeah,
they're fighting the spiritual forces in a different way and praying for all of us. Sorry, suckers. And those of us who are in the world are like, we're not going to come out unscathed, but you can do something to, like, if you can achieve that balance of protecting yourself while also swinging your sword from behind your shield and stuff like that. Protect yourself from fiery darts while also like pulling your buddy out of the muck and mire and
the mucky muck,
bandaging up his wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And motivating him to freaking fight more. Like that's what's happening. That's what I see is good that's going on online. And there's more of a resurgence of that. There's more of a wave of that coming up, at least in the circles that I'm like not in as far as whatever, but like the people I follow and all that kind of stuff. It's optimism, baby. It's straight optimism.
Yeah.
It's lamentable that there's bad things going on, but it's optimism for when we take power, right? That's cool. Whether it happens or not, you got to have that attitude for it to happen. You feel? It's not going to happen by accident.
Keep going.
It's not going to happen by accident. Halftime football, you're losing, and then if the coach will look around and see all these downcast, downtrodden faces.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "You think we can win?" And then, "No, we can't. Or they're beating us." Yeah, well, you're not going to win with that attitude, right? It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I like that there is a silver lining to self-awareness. And here's what I mean by that. One things that we didn't get into, because we're not that historically based of a podcast, we're not going to get deep in the nitty-gritty, but it bears mentioning the whole Edward Bernays, the tragedy that somebody out there invented public relations and determined that there is a science to how to lie to people effectively and manipulate their minds and control their behavior through the messages that you show them. That's something that we can look at and be like, boo-hoo. I can't believe he's done that. Yeah, it makes me mad too, but it happened, and we should have predicted something like that, because when people find a way to exert power over others, especially like psychologically, it's going to happen. That's human nature. But the beauty of that awareness that can be done, and then that it can be done to you, you can say, if I'm affected by propaganda, then I just need to watch the right propaganda, baby. Dude. You know what I'm saying? Let me finish. Let me get going. When I get heated, when I'm on a heater, let me just get.
Go ahead.
I'm saying when you say to yourself, "Oh no, I'm susceptible to propaganda," that's the number one. That helps you to recognize when you're being propagandized. But number two, it means that you can turn that engine on, and then like you said, to hone the algorithm, and really like meticulously curate the right stuff. The only way that I used to be able to do this was just little sayings to myself before the economy of TikToks ever came into being. Like 10 years ago, if I was just feeling super unmotivated because of all the bad food that I ate and because of my bad habits and stuff like that, and I was doing all the wrong things, and I didn't even realize what needed to be fixed in my life so that I could become a motivated and focused person and an effective person. I wasn't working out at all. Most of my food was coming from Speedway gas station, the roller grill section and all that. I just couldn't put two thoughts together, and I couldn't be motivated. But every once in a while I'd say to myself, yeah, well, I got a lot on my shoulders, but lesser men than me would crumble in a situation like this, but not me. And then I'd look at a picture of like Batman or something being all moody, or there's this one print, I hope we could throw it up maybe, but it's this picture of all these like orderlies from Arkham Asylum like holding him back because he got imprisoned in there, and they framed him as being a loony, but it was only to get him down or whatever, and they're all holding him back, all these like bald dudes with the white like uniforms on, they're all holding him back, and he's raging against him. And I'd look at that and be like, that's me, I'm him. I have so much holding me back.
That's right.
That's the type of propaganda, a little bit of self-talk. It's a little bit pathetic to think that, my biggest problems were I had laundry that I was unwilling to do. But the concept remains. Even if you've become an effective person, you know that you still can get better. And how better to do that than to take that that propaganda center that exists in your head and leverage it.
How better
Think
to lift
on what is
that 405 pounds than to tell yourself, unless you do it, you're gay and your whole family dies.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way to do it. But
You
that's
have
you
to tell
doing it to
yourself
yourself. But this is, so you remind me of Joshua Rayner, fantastic account, shout out. But he was talking about utilizing placebos. Why not? You know that it works. So just like make your life use placebo to your advantage every single day.
Yeah.
If you convince yourself that the orange juice with salt or whatever, like some peaty, something real peaty, that's like somebody would like raise an eyebrow and be like, really? Do you really think that eating a raw carrot salad every day is going to make you healthy? Like, it doesn't. It does, by the way, but it doesn't matter whether it does or not if you think it does. Like it does gonna have an effect on you.
It does gonna have an effect
if you force the placebo into working for you for your benefit.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Nothing
can't
wrong
really
with that.
you can't really make a placebo and be like, oh, I'm gonna pour a glass of water and call it Mike's Secret Stuff and drink it. And what but you can say to yourself,
I think.
really?
I think you can.
Because my thing is, if you do something and you just willfully don't check if it's effective, anytime there's any kind of bro science or lore out there and anyone goes, what I do is I eat or drink this, just be like, that sounds like it could work. Just
No, you think it too
determine
hard.
yourself not to read about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I agree with you in that respect. I'm doing that right now with coconut oil. I don't want to read too much about whether or not it's true that it negates the effects of the seed oils, because it does in my brain.
Yeah.
So I eat the coconut oil. I eat the aspirin.
And
I
if
just
something
started
feels
the-
bad, then it's going to feel bad. You know what I mean? And then you pick up on like you're training yourself to operate off of your bio freaking like voice. The thing, your body's speaking to you all the time. We just so happen to live in a time and place and in an era where you can live for a long time, technically be living, like your heart's beating pretty long without ever listening to what your body's telling you. That's unfortunate. What you're doing by going the opposite way and not really like, I'm not necessarily anti-intellectual. I'm not anti-read up and read studies or whatever. I have to say that. Otherwise, whatever. I guess I don't have to, but I'm saying it. However, there's something to be said about truly practicing listening to your body and what it's telling you and using it as a little experiment. Like, that is what the whole like Pete mentality is all about. And it's like, these are some principles, try them and see how you feel. If something that I tell you or if something that the forum says or whatever doesn't feel good on you, stop doing it. Or change it or edit it or make it work until like arrive at the thing that makes you feel makes your body like, and I'm not talking feel good like, oh, this makes me feel good. I'm talking like, when something is healthy,
natural.
natural,
Gives you life. And to bring that back to the tech stuff, not too artificially, it really is true what I'm about to say. I'm not telling a lie. I promise I'm telling the truth. You will know by that little feeling, if you pay attention, if you're watchful. Whenever you're on your 15th reel, you'll get that little feeling of just like, I feel like a slug.
Yeah.
So just listen to it and go, oh no, alarm's going off in my head. I'm falling asleep. Imagine whenever you're on your 20th or 25th Instagram reel and you have that feeling, I want you to imagine that there's a massive giant spider and it's whispering a spell over you, trying to put you asleep so that it can wrap you in a little cocoon and eat you or feed you to its babies.
Yeah.
Go, oh no, throw that phone across the room, cross yourself 10 times, and just start running around the block.
Yeah.
Take a hammer, smash the phone, buy a new one, watch more reels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You will not do it again, trust me, because that just cost you like $1,000.
Yeah.
You won't make the same mistake twice. If you do, smash the phone again, another $1,000 down the drain.
Get another one.
You will break your meme addiction, your Discord addiction, your Twitter.com addiction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all cool and all, but it's not practical. How do we wield? How do we wield technology without succumbing and all of that kind of stuff? Without succumbing all the time and all over the place. It's like it's difficult to do it.
Yeah.
I struggle. I have good strides, and I have freaking valleys, man.
Yeah, strides and valleys, as the old saying goes. Yeah. I don't know. I'll give you my answer. I'll give you my thoughtful answer, and then you tell me what you think, and then
Maybe
you give me
if
yours.
I could just convince myself to not feel bad about it, I could just keep doing it.
Oh, it's fine. This is fine. You
This
can
is
say
fine.
that each time.
I'm strong enough for this.
Then there's not a problem.
If you just get, maybe I just need to stop telling myself I'm too weak to handle it. And
Yeah.
I just need to tell myself I'm strong enough. I'll go a little bit further. I can handle this.
Go further, like look at more stuff, like spend more
Look at
time on the
stuff.
internet. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
Let me give an opposing view here. I think what shakes you out of it is desperation. If we only knew how bad things are, not out there, but in here. If you could only see the look on the Lord's face when you have that judgment of how you spent your life. Yeah, it's probably going to be like this. You rascal. You really... It's okay, though. It's fine. You were just a little baby. Let me tell a story. Let me
all
tell a
hope.
story that will scare the ghost out of you. You know the story of the 40 martyrs?
40 thieves.
No. Not the 40 thieves. There are 40 martyrs of... Oh,
You mean the ones that came back alive?
no, not those. That's a good one, too. I'm going to give you the short story. I think it's in like the 4th century here. Yeah, the 40 martyrs of Sebast. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced either. The thing is, Christianity illegal in part of the empire, and that person who's highest up in charge of them is making an army to combat Emperor Constantine or someone. I'm probably going to get all the facts wrong, but it doesn't matter the historical reality. What really matters here is that 40 of these soldiers laid down their arms, said, I won't fight this part of the empire because I'm a Christian. All 40 of them said, we're Christians. And so in order to break their will...
Oh, I have heard about this.
Yeah,
Keep
they'd
going.
go between torturing them to try to get them to defect, and then when that didn't work, they'd try to like bribe them or flatter them, and then when that didn't work, they got really panicked and they said, okay, throw all 40 of them in this freezing lake, or mostly frozen lake, and then they would be in there and just like shivering, dying, complete agony of being in that frozen lake. But then they brought out a really nice warm bathhouse, and they offered it to them. Anyone wants to leave. And one of the 40 just couldn't handle it anymore and ran for the bathhouse. And when they crossed the threshold, they fell down dead. The reason I tell this story, it's not over yet, but basically what happens is one of the soldiers that watched their resolve stood up and said, I want to be one of them, and replaced that 40th member. And then all 40 of them were martyred afterwards. But mostly I focus about the one who got up and left. I shudder to think what consequences that had for him. He was, I don't even know how to articulate it. It's almost too scary to think about. I think about it often. I'm like, do I have the resolve to do that? That little bit of panic, that little bit of fear, what would I do in the future if I were to be martyred?
Yeah.
If you turn that question to yourself back around and you go, what am I doing right now? Do I proclaim Christ with my life, how I spend my time and my energy? Or do I deny him by affirming what the culture says?
Yeah.
Or is Christ my God so that my whole heart is turned toward him, and therefore the ways that I offering him everything, or have I reserved 80% of myself for the God that is Instagram Reels?
Yeah. It's extremely prideful to tout that you would be the one. I would be the one to die.
Because
for
I'm not the
Christ.
one now. If I can't manage, if I don't, I mean, this.
If it comes down to it, I have a gun to my head. Of course, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
I.
But you
It's-
don't have a
but
gun to
it's
your head,
that-
and if you don't listen to John Foreman saying, "This is your life, are you who you want to be?"
Yeah.
and you're like, "Yeah, what a song! This really moving my heart." And then when the song's over, you're like, "All right,
Well-
time to go get that Dave's quadruple stacker at Wendy's and look at my phone." You don't even ask yourself, "Are you who you want to be?" Let it sink in. Panic. Have that existential dread. Lay in bed and cry and think, "I'm wasting my life." Do it.
But let them be tears of repentance.
Let them be tears of repentance. The only difference between tears of dejection and tears of repentance is how many of them. I think if you can manage to cry about what a dirtbag you are and then get up and continue being a dirtbag, maybe you just didn't have enough tears. I'm saying really let it sink in. And maybe that's really bad advice. What do I know? If so, I take it back. On the condition that it's bad advice. If it's good advice,
If
I take
this
full
whole
credit.
podcast, if it's been good, awesome. If it's been bad, I take it back.
I take it all back. I apologize immediately, and I was just kidding.
If it's helped you, you're welcome.
If it's helped you, then
If
I'm a
it's hurt
perfect
you,
little
I'm
angel.
sorry.
If it's hurt you, I could be your worst frickin' nightmare.
And with that, it's been a cursed world.
It has bad ending. Do not click that button, Kevin. I swear, so help me.
Click it.
Don't click it.
Click it.
Wait,
click
is technology cursed? You didn't click it, did you? Did he really click it? Oh.
What do we? All right, let's do our new opinions now. After this discussion, is technology cursed?
Is it? I don't think so. But also, yes. I think
I think that the curse, bro, it is cursed.
it's cursed, but that doesn't. It's cursed, but like everything, that doesn't mean it's totally irredeemable or that
I
all
mean,
of it's
like,
bad.
Yeah. It has perpetuated lots of curses. It's been a well that you can't get if 90% of the water's contaminated. It's not like you can get the 10% that's not. It's a poisoned well, kind of. It's not necessarily. No, it is, because you can separate the good TikToks from the bad TikToks. You know what I
We're
mean?
also talking all
But there
technology.
are such cursed TikToks.
But the wheel is technology, and it's not cursed.
Yeah, well, this is okay.
Yeah, but we're talking.
This is
We
what
have
we're
narrowed
talking
it.
about. This is what we never got to, is like Tubal Cain and all of that kind of stuff.
I think we're gonna have to do another episode about the origins of cursed technology, because we got to talk about the Book of Enoch and the Watchers and
But
Hermes
think about the
Trismegistus.
very first technology. It wasn't demons giving it to man. It was God making clothing for Adam and Eve out of animal skins. That was the first technology.
God gave him those.
Yes, dude.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
So technology isn't the thing. It's like it's just that with technology comes the power for whatever. Like, it's all about, because we're supposed to be creative and we're supposed to exercise dominion and all of this kind of stuff, and make Mother Earth produce more than what she could on her
Why?
own.
Can you explain really quick?
It's because I accidentally stuttered. I went, so then I just did it
Leaned
again to make
into
it
it.
a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, but make
We've come full
Mother
circle.
Earth.
We've come full circle, because I might sing a little song when I get nervous and go into full cringe mode, and you just start doing just weird.
It doesn't like relate to anything.
Um,
No,
bum,
but
bum,
to
bum, bum.
like good farmers, like Joel Salatin can make his however many acres. Let's take 10 acres. He could make 10 acres overwhelmingly more productive and abundant and healthy for everything involved, the grass, the animals, the everything. He could make it work in such a way that it's benefiting everything, the entire scope. And that's a good thing. That's him doing what God made us to do, right?
Yeah.
Communion. He didn't say grapes and wheat. It's not like we're offering grapes and wheat to ourselves or to him or whatever, like the sacrifice. It's bread and wine. It's things that humans have to make to offer back to him.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I can't remember where I heard that, but it blew my mind because it's implying that the synergy part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just God telling us what to do and we do it or whatever. It's like he asked Adam to name the animals. Like he created us to interact and have synergy. That's what technology is.
Yeah, and
You know
this
what
is
I'm saying?
well-worn territory too for like Jonathan Pajot. It's not that we've ripped his whole thing off, but it just sprung into my mind for the first time in the last hour or so since we've been talking. When he talks about the city, is the city evil? Is
exactly.
a city evil?
Exactly.
No, because the heavenly kingdom is a city. The New Jerusalem is a city.
Exactly, dude.
That's it. I can get on board with that.
This is why I said it really does come back to, you don't have to phrase it the same way or whatever. You can not play into like the normie way of thinking about it by purposely getting like over ultra symbolic and stuff like that. But it is true enough to say that, well, it's a neutral, it's a little bit good, it could be used for good or evil. It's just true. It's just how it is. But it's whether you stop there or not. But like I said, there's a whole discussion of like, is AI okay? I don't know, man. It could be used for good.
Yeah.
It's just a technology. But you also think about the TV. Like there's a lot of symbolic stuff about black mirrors and like reflecting you and it like getting you into freaking alpha state and stuff like that. Like there's demonic origins to all of this stuff.
And the black
it
obelisk
came about from people meddling in things that they shouldn't have. For purposes that were against us. You know what I mean? Like, there should be a television in every household was not a good idea. It wasn't a 4-hour good idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was a for their good and 4-hour destruction idea. I can't remember who said that, but it's a famous thing. Somebody said there should be a TV in every household, and this was back before TVs even existed. So
there's a quote that I'll have to share with you after the show.
It's just the nature of the world that we live
about
in that evil seemingly has the upper hand. But the blood of the martyrs is more powerful than all of the evil in the world. So like, even though it's a minority, it's like even if like it's going to continue to get worse, and the world is going to always be that ratio. You know what I'm saying? Until the Lord's day, I think that ratio will be like that. So the path will be narrow versus the wide one.
If I could just pitch this out there as an answer to our question, is technology cursed? In and of itself, no, it is not. But technology can be used as the curse.
Wait a second. Technology is cursed, but has it been redeemed?
Partially.
Can it be redeemed?
It's being redeemed.
It's kind of like the image of God being redeemed by Christ becoming incarnate.
So can technology be baptized?
Yeah.
I think
everything
yes.
can be, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about, the reels and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. And with that, it's been a cursed world.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's been a cursed world.
Yeah, that's a stinker, all right.
That's funny, dude. No, it's not a stinker. It's funny.
Oh no,
Maybe
I meant it's funny. Did I say stinker?
Maybe
I was thinking about something else.
Think about it a little bit harder.
No, I was thinking about something else when I said that.
Maybe hear it this way. Hear this. Well, with that, it's been a cursed world. We'll see you next time.
How about this?
Does that work?
It's been a cursed world. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah. All right. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down is always.
They
how
know.
it should end.
Shut it down. They know.
Joke, something where you like you've done it like 2 times or 3 times.
Where what?
You break into song nervously.
A character that nervously breaks into song. That's like something from Whose Line Is It Anyway? That is me though. Can I tell you something that you do? And we're keeping this.
Yeah.
When I do go cringe, you're like, And I'm like, I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Whenever I get those pity laughs, I'm like, that just made
It's
it
a pity
5
laugh,
times
or
worse.
It's also me trying to save myself from like.
I'm not
Look.
with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
Giving a Jim look to the camera. We should give more Jim looks to the camera.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Here's your mom.
That's a good one.